super. This is a lot better than trying to listen without the headphones. And then tonight, what I was thinking we would talk about is comedy, as we do, but these characters that have been created by these comedians, these stand-up comedians, or others, maybe they were just comedy performers. But these are characters that are created and played out sometimes in the sketch form, like on maybe a Saturday Night Live or something like that. Or sometimes it will be, could be a Barney Fife, the deputy sheriff on an Andy Griffith show, or maybe Waterboy, one of my all-time favorites. And what I wanted to do is, I had just a quick, I wanted to jump into it and look at some of the stuff that Adam Sandler has done. But let's take a look first at this. There's a clip here. If you see, the one I'm going to look at is Waterboy, Medulla Oblongata.
It's funny because I was just watching that like 3 days ago.
It's one of the all-time classics.
Oh yeah, and I haven't seen it in years, but I watched it, and somebody at my work reminded me of it, and I was like, Gatorade's better, water.
Right, Gatorade. And then he says...
And the mom was in it. The one who played the mom is the one who was the mom and dad, Santa. And she's like the same age as Billy Bob Thornton. It's, I can't remember the lady's name.
Oh, yeah, Kathy Bates.
She's really funny.
Is it Kathy Bates?
Yeah, that was her name.
Yeah.
And Henry Winkler who played the Bond.
Oh, he's another one. Speaking of performers that developed characters, he's a guy that came on when I was a kid as the Fonz and from Happy Days. And then later, he did some other comedic stuff, but he came out in that TV show, Arrested Development, as the family lawyer.
Yeah, Arrested Development. Yeah, I remember that one, yeah.
Yeah, and he had a really good way of moving into the area of a character that is self-depreciating in the humor, because these characters, such as the coach on Waterboy, all kinds of problems, the neuroses and the hang-ups about the other coach with the guy taking his notebook from him.
Of course, it's like you see a Waterboy as a kid, and he's like, the guy makes him mad, and he goes, "Oh, I'm Waterboy," and he's like this little kid, and
Right.
He's like all mad because they're all making fun of him, and then the one dude spits in his water, and
yeah, all time. Yeah, and that's a movie also that deals and presents as part of the comedy being bullied, but does it in a funny way. And you can take most of Adam Sandler's characters that I enjoy most. They are always the underdog or the outsider, such as Happy Gilmore, where he's a good guy.
I love about Adam Sandler, too. He's always getting a really hot chick in his movies. If you watch Billy Madison when he did Pixels, he's like, really beautiful women that are way out of his league. And
yes.
Adam Sandler's not a guy, but obviously, they're out of his league. That's what's funny.
Right, Pixels is another good one, but one of the reasons why I like Pixels, Kevin James.
Yeah.
I don't know what he did before that.
Kevin James is like, they said if Chris Farley would have lived longer, that would have been Kevin James. But,
yeah, he's from King of Queens, but I don't know what else he did.
Well, what I was going to he's in Kings of Queens.
Yeah.
He's on some new series, too. I love Drew Barrymore, too, in 50 First Dates. She is, oh my God, she's so beautiful in that movie. She's so funny, too.
Yes.
I love people who are, funny, and, I've just always been in love with her.
Well, because when you watch a movie, it's nice to laugh and also like what you're looking at.
Well, she did Blended, another new comedy with Adam Sandler, and she was, of course, in Wedding Singer. So they did 3 movies where they were in love with each other.
Yeah, Wedding Singer, but I don't remember. What was the third one?
What was what?
What was the third one? It was 50 First Dates, Wedding Singer, and what was the other one?
It's called, and I'm looking at, I actually have the DVD, believe it or not. It's called Blended, I think.
I don't remember that one.
It's about Okay, so they're both obviously Drew Barrymore's a single mom, and I think they're in they went some vacation, and she's got all daughters. No, okay, he has all daughters, and I think she has sons or something. And they fall for each other, and they win some trip. I think when we're off the phone, I'm gonna watch this movie again.
I love that movie. I can watch that movie. Now you're talking about, well, which one? I'm looking at Waterboy. That's the one I could watch again.
Waterboy, yeah, and I just, what I did? Last week was my Eddie Murphy week. No, I'm sorry, last week was my Adam Sandler week. This week was going to be my Eddie Murphy. I still need to get, it's on Amazon Prime. I was going to watch it with my dad, though, because we're going to watch, I want to see Coming to America 2 with Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, that looks pretty good. It looks like they went all out on that one.
Still haven't seen it yet, and I want to see it, and then I want to watch all the Adam Sandler ones,
Right.
I want to watch, those are my two top, like Adam Sandler, Dana Carvey, and Eddie Murphy.
Dana Carvey, he's another one that created so many good characters, and he could do the impressions with the physical implementation, and then he could have the characters work as a sketch bit as well.
You know what's funny about that? When I saw Dana Carvey, it was about 6-7 years ago. It might have been 8 years ago. And it was at the Flappers in Claremont. And it was the tickets sold out in like a day or two. And I got tickets to that. And I met Dana Carvey after the show, and he was so nice. And I had a flip phone at the time, and I took a picture of us. And it was so funny. And he's like, "Oh, I like your phone." And I was like, "Yeah, I still have one of these."
Nice.
So it must have been back in like 2013. Like right after that, I got an Android. I upgraded a little bit. But
I remember.
So cool.
So that's really cool. And you got to see him after the show, and he turned out to be a nice guy, huh?
Yeah, and I did first impressions, and I got to audition in front of him. I was the last one. I was the last one who made the cut who got to audition in front of Dana Carvey.
Wow, dude, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, what sucked about it though, he was really nice too, but I could tell he was tired, which I don't blame him. I mean, there was like 50 people, there's like 60 people audition, and I was number 60, and they cut the last two off because they didn't have enough time. And I got lucky that I just got to audition in front of him. And he didn't really say anything to me at the time but he was nice. He was like, yeah, I didn't get the cut, but they asked me to audition again, which was kind of cool. And unfortunately, I wasn't a part of Screen Actors Guild, but I almost got on the show. It was called First Impressions. It was only on for one season, but they had some really funny people who are doing impressions on that show. Really good comedians. I mean, these people did this stuff for a living. They were like voiceovers, and oh man, I think as far as a comedian, I've been doing stand-up more, but these people for a living, they were coming out of the womb starting to do voices. That's how long.
That's what I hear from a lot of these impressionistic performers that do the impressions, and they will say, "I was doing this since I was a kid. That first one I did was this. The first one I did was that." So how about it? Which was the first one you ever did?
It's funny you mention that, because the first time I started doing this was when I was watching a swim team video back in the early 90s, and it was Louis Armstrong. I don't know who he was. I just was starting to do the voice, and then and then I started kind of playing around with George Bush, even though I never sounded like him as a kid. I had to give a speech in front of my class, and I was never really, as a student in school, I was kind of shy, and I never really said anything, but I got up and I had a mask, and I started doing, this was when Herbert Walker Bush, or Senior, was president, and I said, "I'm George Herbert Walker Bush," and then I started messing around with doing, it's funny, because my substitute teacher at the time in third grade, I had a sub for a bump, because my teacher was really sick, and she passed away, but we had this sub, and I'll never forget him. He was hilarious. He's the one who got me into doing comedy, because he kind of told me he did a little bit of comedy, like, not a lot, but he worked at restaurants, and he started doing the dude from Back to the Future. He did, like, Doc, and that's what got me into it.
That's another one, Christopher Lloyd.
We had a guy who visited our school. We actually had a stand-up comedian, and I didn't know anything about comedy. the guy was kind of making fun of me because, like, I was sitting there, and I had my jacket on, and he was pretending to blow his nose on my shirt. And I said, what is this guy doing? And everybody's laughing. In my mind, I'm thinking, oh my God, everybody's laughing at me. Oh no. And then I started laughing once my friend explained to me what he was doing. He says, well, that's what a guy does for a living. He's a stand-up comedian. They play jokes on people. And I go, wow, I think I could do that. And then all of a sudden, I came up with these characters. Like, I was into watching, like, Family Matters with Steve Urkel, and I started copying, like, nerd characters. And that's what got me into it. Like, when I loved all the TV shows, and just, that's what got me into it, you know, like, you know, watching those, watching Eddie Murphy. My grandma, I mean, it was so hilarious. I was a kid when Nutty Professor came out. My grandma and I were in the movie theater with my mom, and it was so funny. We were, like, watching, like, my grandma, she was doing the voices from it. I thought it was funny. Like, and we're just, my family's always been into comedy, so.
I had, when I was looking at Don Rickles this week, I remember when I was a kid, I saw him on Get Smart, the Mel Brooks, Buck Henry show. And I remember he had a role where he came on as some kind of like another spy or something, but he was giving someone a lecture. And while he was giving the lecture, they were playing the Star Spangled Banner. And he was kind of doing his thing where he was berating these people. But I didn't know who he was. I just thought, who is this guy? Because I enjoyed Get Smart. I always liked that show as a kid. I always liked the funny version of the serious character, like the James Bond. I always liked the funny version of James Bond.
Well, that to me is what got me into it. Super classic. I mean, that's just, oh my gosh. Like, yeah.
So, yeah, Christopher Lloyd's another one. I'm not sure what he did before Taxi, but I saw him in Taxi, of course, early on.
Again, I'm sorry. Who did you say?
Christopher Lloyd, Doc Brown from Back to the Future.
Oh, the guy, yeah, he was in Taxi. He actually had a short role in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
That's right. Right, yes. As did Danny DeVito.
Yeah, I could look up his whole bio, but my uncle, you should have my uncle on your interview sometime, because he is the movie buff. He'll tell you a million times more than what I know. He, like, knows more than, like, it's just crazy. He knows a lot, but, yeah, Lloyd he was good in Cuckoo's Nest, though, because he kind of played a crazy guy, and remember the scene where, I just remember the one scene where the cigarette, his foot was on fire? There's a cigarette, and they thought he was having yeah, they thought he was going crazy. You'll have to watch the movie again, but...
Yeah, I haven't seen it for a while.
He was like, and they were, like, beating him up, you know, like, restraining him, you know. Well, the whole point of that movie was, you know, mental institutions, mental health. You need to watch that again. I mean,
I've seen it, and that's the reason why I think I can't. That's not. Trust me, as you know, that's no Waterboy. But I do think
that it has some comedy and serious parts, but it's really more serious.
Yeah,
but, I mean, it has
there's a lot of humor in it. Well, it's Stanley Kubrick, so it's a little subversive in the sense of it's taking a look at what our society is really all about, and it shows you behind the scenes.
It really addresses mental health. I mean, it is like the movie, they said that changed how they were treating people in mental health.
Yeah.
Well, they laugh and cry, but it's like, that's probably up with the movie Scent of a Woman with Al Pacino. Those are like my top movies because they so address, like, the importance of mental health and, like, how
they good point. I would be another genre to look at, movies that through and using comedy deal with or present as the premise of the movie, or another good one might be like whatever, like a comedy and mental health or whatever. Another good one on that level is Observe and Report.
I've heard of that one, and I know I've seen it, but
I love it.
A long time. That's with
Seth Rogen.
Oh yeah, no, I haven't seen that in a long time.
And sometimes I'll get that one mixed up in my head with that and Mall Cop, and I think.
I get a lot of people telling me I'm like all those guys. They say I'm like Kevin James, Chris Farley. They say I'm like Seth Rogen. I get all those dudes.
I could see why, and I think the same way. Hey, let's listen real quick to this. I don't know if you can listen in on this or if you want to look that up, but it's on YouTube, and it's called Bob Newhart stand-up comedy,
Okay, yeah, I've heard about it. Yeah.
air traffic controller.
It's probably good, but it's such a different era, you know. But I
Yeah, but what he did was he would do the routine where he would talk on the telephone to someone, and you couldn't hear what the other person was saying. You would just get his reactions. Let me listen to this one here. We'll pay attention to this one. It's called Bob Newhart, and I'll link it in the description. Stand-up comedy.
Listen to that one for a little bit. Let me.
Yeah, air traffic controller, and this is from 60s TV. So let's listen here, and I'll hang on. And what we're going to do is we'll just see where it goes. All right, Bob Newhart, air traffic controller. Bob Newhart, stand-up comedy, 1960s TV. Here we go.
Thank you, Tommy and Dick. There are more planes in the air today than ever before in the history of aviation. And our airports are overcrowded, and it's just about impossible to control all of that air traffic. I don't know if you've ever been in an airport control tower, but at every busy airport, there's one guy, and his job is to keep track of everything. And he is called the traffic control officer. He has a radar screen in front of him, and he wears a headset like this.
So he's putting on the headset, operator headset.
Oh, okay, all right, United 209. Yeah, we have radar contact. You're looking very good. Pan American 715. You haven't seen United 209 up there anywhere, have you? It's a big plane. It's
What I like about Bob Newhart is the way he comes across as really,
you can't miss it.
as they say, button down.
Well, if you see him, would you tell him to call in?
Suit, tie, really chill.
Yeah, 715, we're pretty jammed up here. I'm going to have to put you in the holding pattern. How's your visibility? Yeah, look off to your left about 3 miles over San Bernardino. Yeah, do you see all the planes?
Oh, San Bernardino.
Just take a place anywhere there you can find it. We'll call you back as soon as we have an opening. No, don't call us. We'll call you. Okay, you guys on the ground. Who wants to go up? Wait a minute. Not all at once, guys. Which one of you guys have ever been up before?
Yeah, Bob Newhart. He did this where he had another routine. I saw him on Saturday Night Live where he did his opening monologue where he's the janitor calling the police about King Kong climbing up the Empire State Building. And it's this whole conversation on the phone, but you can only see his reaction. He's like, yeah, a banana. Okay. Yes. But he's just these absurd reactions, so low key, so not over the top.
Yeah.
On these normal everyday events. And this was, in some ways, I would see this as a little bit of what Carlin was doing, but it was not so much as analyzing and satirizing as it was just reenacting everyday events from the standpoint of what if this is how it took place. He did one where he was a bomb, the bomb squad, where he was trying to talk a person through defusing a bomb. That's another one too. That's a good one. But Bob Newhart, he's an example of a guy that went on to do television, and all the time in his incarnation would be the Bob Newhart Show or Newhart or whatever it was. But he always essentially played the same kind of a character. This kind of a button-down, straight-laced, non-hyperbolic character that is always the straight guy in the room, you know, so to speak, where everybody else is doing the crazy stuff, and he's always the guy that's going, what are we doing here? So I always enjoyed that. And then I was looking as well at, of course, I was looking at Rich Little a little bit, but these comedians that do movies and invent characters, they create these characters, and later these characters will come to outlive the performers in terms of what a person remembers. And I feel that Adam Sandler is that way. I love anything Adam Sandler's in. Let me say I love all of Adam Sandler's characters. I don't know that I love all of his movies, but I did see the other day Uncut Gems. Man, that was a different Adam Sandler movie.
Say that one again?
Uncut Gems.
I think I've heard of it. I don't know. I'm not too familiar with that one.
It's not a real funny comedy, but it's a lot of comedy in it.
It's serious.
Yeah, it's a serious movie, but it's more of a you watch this guy's life fall apart by his own design. Every decision he makes, he keeps getting deeper and deeper in because he's got a gambling issue. He won't stop gambling, and every time he starts to ready to get ahead or get out of it, he throws some more money down and gambles again. But it's really a great movie, and also Adam Sandler is fantastic in it. And I hear that he did not win the Oscar, but I think he should have been up for that, at least a nomination. It was a great movie. So I highly recommend it. Uncut Gems, Adam Sandler. And I don't know who wrote it. I don't know who directed it. I just know that Adam Sandler was in it. And boy, what a great movie. But another one I liked that he was in was That's My Boy. Adam Sandler was in a movie called
That's My Boy, where I know.
with Sandberg, Andy Sandberg too. They were both good in that.
I know his teacher knocks him. I was like, the teacher knocks him up. No, he knocks the teacher. He's so young in the movie, right? So he's like in middle school or something, and it's like he gets the teacher pregnant, and then she goes to jail, and he has this kid who's like.
Oh, that's right. That's the movie. Yes, that's the premise of the movie. Right. They kind of played off of the real kind of ripped from the headlines idea.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I do remember that. Right. And so he had he had that tattoo put on his kid's back of the Backstreet Boys, I think it was.
Yeah.
But those two guys in combination, the team up of Sandberg and Sandler, that's a winning combination. Because Adam Sandberg was in Hot Rod, too. He did Hot Rod. And that's another group.
Okay, that's one I'm not too familiar with.
It's a good one. I'm not sure when it came out, but it's another group of people in that one. Danny McBride's in that one. And some other people from, you've seen him on Saturday Night Live. It's a really good movie, and I don't know who else is in it offhand, but I can tell you it's a really funny movie. It's about these guys that are, building ramps, bicycle ramps in their backyard, and they're doing this whole thing as the time they're kids, and they want to all be Evel Knievel. This guy wants to be Evel Knievel, the motorcycle daredevil, and he ends up setting up a charity event to help raise money so that his stepfather can get a heart transplant. And there's this whole thing going on with his stepfather where his stepfather will say to him, you have to wrestle me to whatever, use the laundry machine, because he's trying to teach him how to be a man. And so by the end of the movie, him and this guy are just having all-out karate fights. But it's good. It's a good movie. I recommend it. Very funny. And it's one of those that I guess kind of crosses the topical genre of, it would be family. Because I know there's good movies that I enjoy always have some equality writing when it comes to the characters in relationships. Because you want to see people that really get along with each other in some way and how that works. And this is a really good family movie in terms of he's working his issues out with his family, and it's funny. But on the other hand, it's a nice movie. It's very sweet.
Yeah. These are good because they're not. I mean, some humor, it's funny. It can be a little.
Right, but he has this. He learns. Now, do you know there's an actress, and I feel like she was in Wedding Crashers. Remember Wedding Crashers?
Yeah, Wedding Crashers with
Oh, and
right?
yeah,
Both
now,
those guys.
right now you remember the actress, and she was the played the girl that was like the young daughter or the older daughter of the Christopher Walken character, and she or one of the nieces or something, and she was a kind of a crazy obsessed type.
Right?
Yeah, she was crazy in
I
that.
thought about that. He's the dad, yeah. I was the father in the movie.
That's right. And but she's also in Hot Rod. I think her name is Isla Fisher. I feel like it's Isla Fisher. And she was in Hot Rod. But she teaches him Andy Sandberg, or he teaches her. I don't remember this move.
No, but did you say Andy Sandler?
Yeah, I get him. I always get Andy Sandberg and Adam Sandler mixed up. Sometimes I'll say Andy Sandler or Sambler, right? Like scrambled eggs, scrambler. But it's like, remember the Kill Bill with the 5-finger death punch?
Yeah, I've heard of that, yeah.
And they do that in this movie, but instead of the death punch, it makes you release your bowels, so you basically crap your pants. And then but there's a funny scene in the movie where they actually do that, and it's really funny, and it works perfectly with the movie. I would call Hot Rod, and I would also call most Adam Sandler movies as well very juvenile comedy, very elementary school, middle school. I love it. My all-time favorite.
My dad's not into that. I like that.
I love it. That's my favorite. I love that kind of humor.
I like intelligent humor too, but I can go for any of it.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to go with the pooped pants.
Well, I watched this funny series on Netflix the other day. Yesterday actually. It was about a dog, and it looked like Star. It was called Something It's Bruno, and it was so funny because this guy lives in not the best neighborhoods, but he has this dog, and he ends up like, he kind of doesn't really work, whatever. But he ends up turning around his life and then getting the dog into this training. It's really funny. The whole episode, he's listening to the dude that let his dude poop on the sidewalk, and he's going after this dude trying to beat him up.
Yeah, I don't know that one, but I'll have to check it out. And it's about a guy and his dog.
And this chick tries that. She uses guys for sex, and then she steals the dog, and then tries to make money off the dogs. And he goes out. They get in this big fight, and then he ends up with this other girl. I don't want to give away too much of it, but it's a really funny.
Right. Yeah, that's why I didn't give away too much of the 5-finger punch from Hot Rod, because it's really funny, but I'll check that out.
Yeah.
Let's look at this one here, and it is. Now this is kind of funny. You know much about Don Knotts?
I've heard that. Yeah.
He was. I think he's one of the funniest all-time character players ever. And he did some stand-up, and he did some performing. He was on the Jack Benny Show, Jack Parr. And he had these characters, but one of the characters that he created was this guy called the Nervous Man. And he was nervous about everything. Everything he did was nervous. He was the nervous weatherman, the nervous announcer. And so what he did was he's out here in this one. He's trying to introduce some people that are going to be coming out on stage, but they're not coming out on stage. But a lot of we won't do it now, because a lot of his humor depends on you looking at his own reactions to his own creations, because he's one of these guys that does the bugging out of the eyes and the double takes when you would say something.
Like Ronnie Dangerfield right there a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit like that. But let's listen to this one. This is called Don Knotts Announces Baseball. And this one here is, I don't know what year it's from. It looks like it's pretty old school. It's black and white. I would say this is probably 50s or 60s. So let's take a look here.
Wow, from the 50s or 60s.
Yeah, and this is called Don Knotts Announces Baseball. So let's take a listen. This is only a minute long, so let's see about this one.
Good afternoon, James Little.
Luciflink, Phil Lucibrink, bringing you a description of today's pain. The Flames game, down on the CLIP, on the VLIC, digging out of the mud, cutting out of the kumquat, out of the dugout, there's a Stacy Mendel, a Casey Stinkle. Who do we out in the C field? Who do we see in the outfield? None other than that mighty Mackie Middle. Billy Michael Massey. Mighty Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse. I didn't play. He was going to pick today. And the fielders are on the plane.
Brilliant.
The players are feeling no pain. The players are on the field. So now I'd like to turn over. I'd like you to turn over. I'd like to turn you over to your regular announcer.
Yeah, very funny. He is a classic, and he did that where he is jumbling up all of his words. He's trying to say one word or three words, and he says three different words, and then he'll try to fix it 3 or 4 times, and he's getting so frustrated with himself. But there's so much there. Physicality, verbalization, playing with language. Also, the character, he's a baseball announcer, so he's got that going on too. But that's a great one. I'll put that in the link for anybody that wants to look at it. Don Knotts, he's one of my all-time favorites. I'd put him up there with Adam Sandler. So if you ever want to look at somebody that's a little more old school that is up there, I would say probably the standard. So I would say like he might be the Carlin of that field of whatever he's doing. He's that good. And so you would see Adam Sandler and you would go, well, Adam Sandler is doing what he does because Don Knotts did what he did.